Well, hello there, soldier. Thank you for dropping in once more. Apologies again. I was supposed to do a bloody book review for today, but I've been working on this audiobook, and once I get into something, it takes up all my time. But yeah, apologies. Next week, I'm going to do a kind of overview and review of the Amtrak Wars series, hopefully. But anyway, I just wanted to say thank you to those of you who reached out and gave me some feedback on those two versions of the audiobook sample that I've been working on. So the quandary was whether to do my own accent, but with like a heavily pitched, lower pitched voice to resemble a crackling audio communication. It kind of sounds like a robot, I know that. And also the other version being me trying to do an American accent like that. So yeah, there seemed to be, most people preferred the first one, the my normal accent but pitched, but there were some other people that liked the American one, and then other people saying they would like just my normal voice reading it. So what I'm going to do is do 3 different versions. It's bloody stupid, I know. I should just pick one and go with it, but I guess with this channel, I'm not selling this as a product. It's there to be viewed, or listened to if you wish to. So I'm going to give you all 3 different versions, and you listen to whichever one you want. Maybe at a later date, the most popular one, I'll just keep that, but I'll just leave it all on there. The idea is eventually I'm going to do audiobooks of all of the stuff I've done, more or less. Why? Just because I want to make more work for myself, but also perhaps engage with other people that haven't read the books, or, all that kind of thing. Also, I was thinking, because I always have ideas for short stories, I thought it'd be nice, rather than writing them over a course of a year and then publishing them and not many people being able to access them, I thought, as I'm writing them, if and when I do, I could just record one and then stick it on here. So that might be the new outlet for my writing, perhaps. But at the same time, I'm also thinking of that book I wrote, Brown Road Blues, that kind of comedy wizard tale. I'm thinking of doing that as an audiobook, but with all kinds of sound effects and stuff to make it almost theatrical, as a kind of audio play, perhaps. One of my many ideas, I know. If I did do that, what do you think I should do? Should I record it as one great big thing? I mean, it's going to be hours long, or do it in chapters? I mean, I think most people, if they want to engage with an audiobook, they just want it there and get into it. That's probably what I'll do. Plus, you never know if YouTube are going to slap adverts on stuff willy-nilly, and I don't want that getting in the way. So I'll probably do it as one big chunk. Look, I've solved my own problem. So yeah, that's what I'm working on at the moment, and what I'll do is I might release it in next week at some point, these free audio books, or whenever I manage to get it out, but it won't replace the usual Friday festival, if you will. So yeah, I thought I'd take the opportunity today just to talk about the usual stuff, things I've been doing. First thing, let's kick off with painting. So as you know, or some of you know, the last thing I did was a painting project for our wedding. So I had to do 29 paintings in about a month. So I had to do one a day. Once that horrific thing was out of the way, in terms of, it was quite hard to do, shall we say, and I was forced to do things that I perhaps didn't really want to do at times. That sounds dodgy, doesn't it? So I thought the next one I do, I'm going to do exactly what I want. I'm just going to work on something here, and it's over here. It's a great big thing. I'll bring it over. Camera's shit, but I'll photograph it properly another day. Here we are. It's a great big one. I don't know what the size of this canvas is, but it's pretty big, as you can see. But it's, I suppose you can see the influence here of H.R. Geiger, or Giger. I don't know how you pronounce that. Never have. I've always said Geiger, but there we are. It's not Geiger, is it? I don't think it's probably Giger. Anyway, so you can see some of the influence there with the tubes down here underneath, that kind of patterning texture, biomechanical looking thing. And this young woman here appears to be within the embrace of said tentacles, but also something that might be a piece of machinery, a piece of headgear, if you will. Originally, I've been playing around with this idea for a very long time, and it got to the point where I just thought, let's just do it. And so it's almost a doodle. I made it up as I went along. Once I had the main forms in, so the young woman there and the green mass of her headgear. But yeah, I don't know how successful it is. At one point, I really didn't like it, but I think it's okay. Anyway, the last thing I did was paint all the sides black. Oof. Okay, there we are. Only one painting. It's taken me perhaps a month to do. I've been doing it in bits and pieces, and it was quite hard working on something so large after working on those little tiny ones. I mean, this is just an abstract thing I did the other day, but that's the size of the ones I was doing for the wedding. And so that would have been about, you can't even see, what's the point of doing that? But anyway, it's about 20 of those perhaps in terms of coverage. And it was playing my wrist up a bit because I was having to do various maneuvers. And this easel is shit. It's not very maneuverable. And so I don't know if any of you remember back along before the summer, I had this terrible hip problem and I couldn't bloody walk without screaming. And I think it was due to that easel, because I was working for hours in certain positions that normal people might be able to get away with, but these old bones won't take much of a jostling these days. So I'll probably be giving this to my father and he can chop it up and burn the fucker in his log burner. Anyway, there we are. What I really want is an easel. I've seen them, but I think they're bespoke. But ones where you could put your painting on there and then you could move it up and down, left, right, and even rotate it on some kind of pivot. That would be ideal. That's why I've abandoned doing. I was doing a bit of like time-lapse paintings at one point. But for those, you've got to keep the painting exactly still and then paint all. I can't do that. It's impossible. So I don't do that anymore. Fucking hell, I'm getting out of breath. Slow your tits down, Johnny boy. Yeah. Sometimes I just talk way too quickly. Anyway, I've been a bit down in the dumps again lately. I don't know what it is. I'm up and down all over the place. One thing that hasn't helped is that I think most of you have got the idea that I don't really like my job. I like working with the children that I'm driving, and the escort that I'm with now is fine. Everything's fine. But it's the repetition of it and taking time that I would rather be doing my own stuff. But aside from all of that, because I'm in effect a taxi driver, every 5 years, because I'm now 45, you've got to have a medical. You've got to have a medical check to make sure you're not going to have a heart attack or pass out in front of the wheel. Now, last time I did this, which was 6 years ago, the doctor was fine. Went there. I think it cost 80 quid, 90 quid. There we are. He just tick, 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 boom, get the fuck out. This time I went back to the same surgery. Didn't even see the doctor. The doctor was hiding in another room. And I had a minion, a go-between. And this minion, I was trying not to get too angry with her. I didn't really. I kept my temper. It was quite amazing, really. But she basically saying the doctor will not sign it. She won't go. I think it's a female doctor. She will not go through this medical check because she didn't like the wording of a part of the form. So she gave me two options. Either I go back to the council, Mid Devon Council, and get them to rewrite the form so that she's happy with it. A form, incidentally, that's used by hundreds of other drivers across Mid Devon on a yearly basis with no problems whatsoever. But, she didn't like it. Or I go and seek another doctor to do it. Wonderful, wonderful. So this is causing me no end of stress. On top of all this, my boss won't be paying for any of it. He says I've got to pay for it. So now it's £100 that I'm paying, more or less. Um, yeah, and I found someone else to do it. It's a company that specializes in medicals, but they wanted all kinds of stuff. So basically, I've got to do my own medical. They go there, give me the once over, sign the thing, and Bob's your uncle, Fanny's your aunt. But yeah, I've had to weigh myself. I've got to tell them how tall I am. I've got to give them my eye last optician's whatever. What do you call it? Prescription. I've also had to request, download, and print my entire medical background, which there's no way the doctor's going to be perusing that in the half an hour slot that we've got, but there we are, I've got to provide it. But anyway, all of this has caused me a great deal of stress because I wasn't able to do my usual things, and yeah, gradually declined in mood, if you will. I think I'm back up a bit now. In fact, I'm being a bit manic, aren't I? Bastard. There we are. I may cut that bit out. If I have left it in, I'm sorry, I'm just going on and on. Right, well, there's one other thing I was going to talk about, and that's what I'm reading at the moment. So I'm reading the surprise fourth instalment of the Southern Reach series. Jeff Vandermeer's Annihilation, it was Southern Reach, yeah. So it was turned into the film Annihilation. And I absolutely loved the first three books, and I think as a set, as a trilogy, it's almost perfect. In my own records, I didn't review it on this channel, but I gave every book 5 out of 5. I just thought it was perfect. So this fourth one's come along in a surprise fashion. I didn't know anything about it. My cousin Karen gave it to me as a wedding gift, so I've started reading that. Now I've read the first third. And at the moment, I'm not sure about this, but it's interesting in that it's giving more background. And I think something like the Southern Reach trilogy, there's so much mystery. And I think anyone that's read it would want to know more. But I suppose there is the risk that you run of finding out too much, and then some of the sense of mystery is gone. And the sense of mystery and not knowing stuff is one of the things I loved about that trilogy in itself. Anyway, I'm going to be reviewing that once I've finished it. It seems to be getting better. It seems to be piquing my interest a bit more. But anyway, we'll get to that later on when I review the damn thing. Trying to think if there's anything else. No, that's all. Sorry, I was trying to think if there's anything else. But yeah, I've scraped the barrel here, quite obviously. Thank you very much again for watching and for reaching out about the audiobooks. I will be releasing those soon. And yeah, anyway, I'll see you next Friday. Yeah, and the Amtrak Wars overview, if you're lucky. Anyway, cheers. Cheerio. See you next time. Bye. Cheerio.